and welcome back to STL Live. We're back with A.J. Bockleman of Empower Missouri. I wanted to get to this really interesting question with reference to Governor Greitens and the administration and his policies for the St. Louis area. How's that going to work out for us? And what should individuals who are very concerned about the issues that affect Missourians and the things that your group works to empower people on?
So effectively,
what should we be looking out for?
The effect for us is going to be what we see coming out of Jefferson City. And there's a number of items in his budget that he's cutting a lot of social services. We're not seeing any increase to our state employees who have not had a raise in, I believe, over 4 or 5 years. We're the lowest paid state employees in the country. Again, no expansion of Medicaid. We're seeing cuts to services that will impact the daily lives of people in the region.
Why so many cuts? Why are we cutting everything? And then, to me, we are just taxed to death in this state of Missouri. I mean, having lived in other states where I didn't have to deal with a bunch of taxes, only because those states had other things to offset having to tax people, like oil or other minerals and things like that. Missouri doesn't have that much. So why cut so many services that are needed?
So actually our tax structure is relatively limited, and it's not, we're not necessarily overtaxed in comparison to other states. Perhaps in the local region as well, because state taxes don't necessarily supply services.
Exactly.
So your local area is also increasing taxes as well. At the state level though, in 2015, the Governor Nixon had actually vetoed an entire tax overhaul that would put us on par with Kansas.
Okay.
The legislature overrode him, and that potentially goes into effect. We're going to see different, it goes into effect as revenue in the state increases. So if production of revenue, so the tax income for the state starts going up, these other tax cuts will then go into effect. So we could be on par with Kansas within just a few years. So looking at the budget overall, they're trying to cut the services, but if you look at this, the experiment, as many people call it in Kansas, that's not really been good for the state.
No.
You even have moderate Republicans who have come out heavily against where the budget currently stands in that state. And I think we're going to see that similar fractioning here.
So depending on taxes, for example, from the constituency of the state, is that just the bottom line for Missouri at this point? Or does Missouri have other recourses for bringing revenue into the state?
Well, interestingly enough, Governor Greitens has also said that he's going to use, I believe it's tobacco tax revenue. Don't quote me on the revenue.
Sure.
But there's a settlement out of a court case that he's going to apply towards school districts for use of school buses and I believe some other programs related to schools. But it's an iffy source of income, and it's only going to shore us up for so long.
So does the state of Missouri have resources that could be utilized to build its general revenue fund up?
If the legislature took a chance to reform the tax code, get rid of some of the tax cuts for larger industries, even if we looked at our local region and took a look at the tax abatement process in the city of St. Louis, that's been a hotly discussed topic over the last few years.
Yes.
This election cycle, I think, has brought so much more forth in the tax abatement. It's estimated that we've lost over $700 million in revenue to the local region. How much more could $700 million have helped to better the services of the police force, to reform the police force, put social workers in with the police force for mentally ill individuals or mental health challenged individuals, or into our school districts so that we have better quality schools? This is a way that we've undercut our region consistently for a number of years.
And those tax incentives, the TIFs that you're talking about, those went to developers and folks to develop certain parts of the city of St. Louis and local areas, but they didn't go towards those things that you talked about, police.
There are some places where the tax increment financing has been used effectively and appropriately, but in many places it really has not. Okay,
all right. We are going to talk more about that. For more information on Empower Missouri and their work, give them a call at 573-634-2901 and visit Empower Missouri at empowermissouri.org. Don't go away. We've got more information here on STL Live after this.